Kristi Noem is so bad at her job that even the incompetent DHS stooges who she put in place to rubber stamp everything she does, they are now turning on her. Kristi Noem has already seen her top advisor resign this month, and now there is infighting within DHS that wants to see the potential ouster of Kristi Noem as she continues to make a fool of herself and everyone in the Trump administration, but they do that on their own, so it's really not that difficult. But there is infighting that is now leaking. The staff is in a full-on revolt, and I largely think it's because of what Tim Walz had to say when he perfectly diagnosed Kristi Noem and all that has happened this month in Minneapolis, the murder of 2 innocent people. What Governor Walz said right here is why we are seeing this revolt that we are going to get into.
And sitting behind a keyboard at 2 a.m. and besmirching a VA nurse and a son and a coworker and a friend is despicable beyond all description. This is not we need to see both sides. This is not we need to wait for this. This is basic human decency. And at this point in time, I'm just asking, try for a moment to set aside the political side of it and go back and ground in the humanity of this. This family has gone through enough, and to have the most powerful man in the world drag their dead son with absolutely no evidence and gaslight the entire country, this is enough. And I would say, President Trump, you can end this today. Pull these folks back. Do humane, focused, effective immigration control. You've got the support of all of us to do that. Let our law enforcement continue to do what they do, making Minnesota one of the safest states in the country, one of the best places to live. Allow our children to go back to school.
There is no both sides here, and I released a video last night in which I talked about a statement from former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama, in which they essentially said that ICE seems to be acting out of character, that this isn't what we want, and it's difficult to be a law enforcement agent, but we need better. And I just don't think that statement rose to the occasion. I don't think that we can treat this as if these are normal times, that we have expectations that ICE will do some sort of job that they were trained to do. These people aren't nurses, right? I know that there are law enforcement officials who do care about law enforcement, but let's be real. Policing in America, is that a stand-up, fucking fantastic institution? No. Are the people joining ICE, the former Proud Boys, the former Oath Keepers, the J6ers, and by the way, they have a whole list of everyone who was at January 6th, who now works for ICE, and Jamie Raskin has subpoenaed it, and Pam Bondi is not handing it over. So do we expect that these people are in Minnesota, that they're in Minneapolis because they want to do a job, or is it because they want to cause harm? Tim Walz is so spot on here. There is no agenda other than pain and the incitement of violence. They are not community safety. They are not border protection. They are there to cause harm and then lie about the harm that we can see them causing. That's what Kristi Noem did. When Alex Preddy had his life stolen from him, she immediately said domestic terrorists threatening law enforcement because she thought that there was only going to be one video that was kind of blurry and maybe you couldn't make out everything, but then all the videos came out and it made it abundantly clear. So did the first, but all the rest did as well. And so Kristi Noem, she can't lie anymore. She can't obstruct. She can't say, don't believe your lying eyes. Now the MAGA chud morons are going to fall for it, the cultists, but regular people who see this, absolutely not. And so Kristi Noem has made a fool of herself. And what a surprise that is. The Botox has gotten to her head. But even the officials at DHS are now coming out and saying that amid a huge revolt that was covered by CNN very thoroughly. You're going to want to hear this whole segment.
With more on the backlash after the fatal shooting of Alex Preddy by immigration agents in Minneapolis, as videos are contradicting the account that is coming from the federal government tonight. There's mourners that are paying respects to the ICU nurse on the ground in Minneapolis, as there's growing criticism coming from inside the Department of Homeland Security, where multiple DHS officials tell my colleague, CNN's Priscilla Alvarez, they're furious with how the agency and Secretary Kristi Noem is handling the shooting. Some of those sentiments have been fueled by what we heard from Secretary Noem earlier in a swift defense of the federal officers involved and also her claims about Preddy himself. Priscilla joins me now. And Priscilla, what are you hearing exactly from these officials? What did they make of what they're hearing from Secretary Noem?
Well, Caitlin, as they've had more time to absorb the videos that have been circulating on social media and that the American public has also been looking at and dissecting, they have grown more frustrated and more concerned, not only about the shooting incident, but also the public response by the Department of Homeland Security. These are officials who are keenly aware that they risk even more reputational harm, which affects them in their operations and could also have long-term consequences that they are going to have to wrestle with in the years to come. Now, of course, this has all stemmed really from what they've seen online and what they've heard from the Trump administration. And in my conversations, they simply can't square, just as many other people who've observed this can't, what happened in that shooting incident and what the Department of Homeland Security Secretary has been saying. As you mentioned, Caitlin, she swiftly defended the agent yesterday and this morning did much of the same. Take a listen.
He came to that scene and impeded a law enforcement operation, which is against federal law. It's a felony. When he did that, interacting with those agents, when they tried to get him to disengage, he became aggressive and resisted them.
Now, she's also said that the intent here was to massacre law enforcement, that he was brandishing a weapon. And in the videos that have been made public, none of that appears to be true. And that is what Homeland Security officials are wrestling with. And their concern is that ultimately the secretary is doing a disservice to the department. In fact, one Homeland Security official told me the following, quote, "The department needs a law enforcement leader, not a sycophant." In addition to that, I've heard that some Border Patrol agents who are on the ground in Minneapolis are starting to become unconvinced that this is a productive use of time, and that is doing operations there, given the tenuous situations that they're finding themselves in. So certainly, Caitlin, there are fractures within the Department of Homeland Security over this incident and the way the Trump administration has handled it so far.
Even the DHS officials think she's ridiculous. They think she sounds ridiculous. They think she looks ridiculous with the stupid outfits and the stupid hats and the stupid filler and like everything. It's just egregious. They think she looks dumb and they want her out. Of course they do. This is not a competent person. This is not a serious person. And that is the point. She is a sycophant. That is what Donald Trump wants. He wants the rubber stamp. He wants the yes man and the yes woman to go on Fox and to lie. But they did not expect that it would be this difficult to lie. They thought that they had state media on lock. TikTok, which was just officially transferred over to Larry Ellison and a whole bunch of other fucking right-wing, let's be honest, a lot of Zionist billionaires who both don't want us to see the terror that's happening on the ground in the United States, but at the same time, of course, will make sure you don't see any of the suffering happening in Gaza. Those things, they do go hand in hand. But now that TikTok is owned by Larry Ellison, the best buddy of Donald Trump, what are we seeing about what's happening in Minnesota? Nothing. They have restricted and taken down and removed all of that content. It is what Netanyahu literally said the point of purchasing TikTok was. I don't want anyone to think that I'm reaching here by making a connection to the agenda to shut down any mention of Gaza on TikTok. Netanyahu said it was the most important thing happening right now. That sale, so that, as already stated by the new owners of TikTok, you can't say Zionist. You're not allowed to, right? If you do, if you say that the genocide being carried out by the Israeli government is a genocide and that the project is one of an apartheid state, yeah, they'll smack you down. That's what TikTok is now. It's doing it for the Israeli government and it's doing it for the Trump government, which are one and the same at this point. They want you to not be able to see the carnage that our government carries out. And of course, the Israeli government. That's just a little side project. But Donald Trump's always thinking about his boy Netanyahu. But they don't want you to be able to see that. And so Kristi Noem assumed, I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but I think it's important. Kristi Noem assumed, well, we got TikTok, Zuck's holding it down on Instagram, Elon's holding it down on Twitter. I think we'll be fine. But it's not true. We will continue to push out as much as we can. Every single clip that can be taken should be posted and reshared again and again and again. Every single post needs to be retweeted, reposted, screenshotted so that they cannot take this evidence away, so that they cannot strip these platforms of the truth, that we will hold it and we will share it. If we got to send it by, carrier pigeon, I don't care. But they want to own the information and they think they can. They got the Fox propaganda outlet. I got plenty of other propaganda outlets. I know this has gone off on a tangent, but even DHS thinks Kristi Noem is stupid. Even they think she's embarrassing. That's how bad it's gotten. That is how bad it's gotten for Donald Trump's administration. And so in this politically, this moment where the political salience of this issue, when the shift that we have seen with ICE is 40 points, 50 points against Donald Trump in the past year, we got to take advantage of it. And we got to hit back. And we can't just do milquetoast little statements. We got to have real fighters. And I spoke to one the other day on the show, but I want to play a clip of what he had to say most recently about the bastards at ICE and what he would do to fight him in the Senate. That's Graham Plattner right here.
That trust, that organizing, that community building, we're going to be able to use that down the road to also win elections and to take institutional power. But right now, in this moment, I'm sorry, it's not the courts that are stopping people from getting ripped out of their families' arms or ripped out of their homes. It is their communities. It is organized people in their communities doing it. That's what is practically doing the work right now. And we need to let Americans know that they have the right to do it. And in many ways, we have the duty to do it, to protect our communities and protect our fellow Americans.
We need real fighters. Okay, we don't need a little cardboard poster from Angie Craig, who voted for the Laken Riley Act, right, who voted for ICE funding, who voted to thank ICE saying, oh, impeach Kristi Noem. We're going to impeach Kristi Noem. Oh, I condemn you. All those Democrats who voted for DHS funding, do you know what they're saying right now? Oh, Kristi Noem, she's got to step down. It doesn't do shit. I know I'm pissed off right now. We all should be. And so maybe this isn't the best tone for this video. I'm sorry.